What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are talking Dynamite, and it was a pretty fine show. I don't think it was as good as last week's, action-packed Grand Slam Mexico, and I also don't think it was as good as the week before, because that one had the Kenny Opsreay segment, really good segment. It had Mercedes and Willow's really good segment. So yeah, but it was still a good show. I think there was some good stuff. The show kicked off with Willow Opsreay talking about how he was there at Grand Slam, Kenny wasn't. Kenny was at home. He's basically saying he is the one who should be champion. And then Don Callis comes out, and I am kind of getting sick and tired of Don Callis. It was fun, but come on, I want these two guys by themselves. But yeah, Don Callis comes out and he's he made Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega hasn't been as good as he was when he was with Don Callis since, and that he is also the one who brought Willow Opsreay to AEW. Willow Opsreay beat Kenny when Don Callis was in his corner, and then he's basically yeah, since I left, y'all both suck kind of thing. So we get the Don Callis family coming out to attack Willow Opsreay. Kenny comes out to save him, and they kind of reconcile, but they're also now it's on. We're not enemies, but I'm not gonna lose to you kind of thing. And I don't know, I like the passive aggressiveness, because it's we're cool, but not really, and I really like that. I would have preferred if it was still, all that tension, they didn't shake hands. But also I don't mind it because it feels like they're shaking hands, but there's still a lot of tension there. Then we had a Jay White versus David Finlay match. This was really good. Definitely Jay White's best match since coming back. I hope he ditches those pants, because they are kind of starting to piss me off visibly. But this was a great match. I feel like it was probably also David Finlay's best singles match. I don't know if he's even had one. It definitely felt like a redemption for whatever they want to call that double chain match. We also had a segment with Willow was supposed to do an interview. I don't know if the interview was already done, but she was talking with Renee backstage, and then Mercedes comes out and attacks her. So that is cool. I hope they have stuff lined up for that. Hopefully we still get another promo. What I would have done, if it were me coming up with ideas, I would have had Mercedes beat Willow up and then bring her out to the ring, and then talk some shit, and then leave her there, and say something I brought your champion to you or something. I don't know. But I feel they need to be in the ring. We need to see them. And I don't know, maybe they're trying to save some stuff for the remaining weeks. But yeah, hopefully they have good stuff lined up. We also had Divine Dominion talking about how the Brawling Birds are unbeaten, or they haven't lost a single match, but that's only because they haven't faced Divine Dominion yet. So I'm looking forward to that match as well. I hope these two acts, or these two matches, the participants get time to talk, promos or actual segment between them. I don't know, because I feel because they've already done the 3-on-3 match so soon, it's kind of now you have weeks, and I feel they don't really know what to do with those remaining weeks. There was also a Casino Gauntlet numbers 2 entry, and it was Nick Wayne versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus MJF. This is a fun match as well. I really liked MJF teaching Nick Wayne how to heal it up. That was really fun. But MJF wins, and then he kind of pranks the fans into thinking Andrade is coming out, but Andrade wasn't there. So hopefully in the coming weeks they do something. I had already told myself from when MJF was champion, I was All In is probably gonna be MJF versus Andrade in a singles match. So I'm really surprised they're not doing that. Maybe they're saving it for All In, because you probably need some matches on that card, because CM Punk is probably gonna be in Chicago for Worlds Collide, so they probably want to pack that up, which I 100% understand if that is the case. There was also a Kevin Knight versus Chris Jericho, and it was a fine match. Chris Jericho hasn't looked horrible in a match. It's just that he's not interesting, and it feels he's too old for it to be taking this much work for guys like Kevin Knight to win. Like, Kevin Knight should be able to beat Chris Jericho. Like, if you're like building up Kevin Knight, then he should be beating Chris Jericho, especially if Darby ends up winning, then Kevin Knight should be winning like by himself, like without cheating or anything like that. What else did we have? Okay, so we also had Hangman Brodido come out, and they are the new trios world champions because they beat The Demand last week on Grand Slam Mexico. So this was fun. They came out there and they're talking, and Swerve comes out. You can just see like it's like all this trauma come back to Hangman. Like, his face, like, Hangman is like one of the best when it comes to like facial expressions. He is like, he might be the best. He's just so good at it. And when Swerve comes out there, like, you could just see like, oh god, these guys hate each other. Like, there is so much bad blood between these two, like, without even saying anything. If it's your first time watching an AEW show, or you've never seen them interact since starting to watch AEW, you just tell immediately by Hangman's face that these guys have a story there. And so Swerve comes out and he's like, oh, this is a gathering of like all the guys that I've beat. You know, he talks about beating Bandito at Double or Nothing. He talks about Brodido wanting to be the most dangerous, but he beat him too. He talks about how it feels like it's always him and Hangman. Every time, like, they always come back and it's them. He talks about how the last time he like stopped paying attention to him, like, or like got his eye off him for a moment, he lost the title, and then now he can't even challenge for it anymore. So like, he's saying all this work that we did last year and you can't even be champion anymore. And Hangman is like, well, you have also done all this work, but you have nothing to show for it. Like, you turned the heel, but you know, you didn't really achieve anything. You had that feud with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is now champion. You are not. You did some really heinous stuff and you have nothing to show for it. And then Ricochet comes out and he's like, what is Swerve doing here? Like, this is a trios thing. Like, you are by yourself. Unless Nana wants to come in and we can, you know, beat his ass too. So I really like Ricochet. Like, Ricochet, like, every single time, I feel like he just makes me realize how so many people in WWE who would think this guy can't do anything is just because they aren't given the chance to. And like, he is doing great. Like, like, I think he's like the best promo guy, but he is hanging with, you know, in like some of these segments, like, he hangs, like, he is very entertaining, and I really love that for him. And yeah, I really hope we get something more for Ricochet, because I feel like if you ask me in like 2024 after that Swerve feud and you were like, do you think Ricochet could be world champion, I would have said, oh yeah, like in like a year he could be champion. But like, now his ceiling is like the international champion, like, which is still like decent ceiling. But even that in itself, I feel like you would have to put in some work to kind of bring him to that level. But yeah, so I really wonder what is gonna happen with this, because Ricochet tells Swerve to leave because, you know, this is a trios thing, and Swerve leaves. And so Hangman is like, when you all want to go, you know, we can come into this ring and do it. And Ricochet is like, nah, on our time, which I'm assuming is going to be All In. And I had no idea what that meant for Swerve until I was listening to the Fightful post show, and they talked about how the New Day could team up with Swerve, because I had assumed that the New Day is probably going to come back babyface, but I feel like it'd be more interesting if they come back as the heels that they were, right? Because you tried it there and like WWE didn't care enough. But if you come back here and you are heels, because the Young Bucks are baby faces, so you could eventually do that. But if they come back and link up with Swerve, they are, you know, like instantly in a pretty good match. Like, if they come back and it's like a trios triple threat, like maybe it's a ladder match because the tag team aren't doing that anymore. So that would be cool. I would really be into that. Yeah, so I feel like this is probably the best segment of the show. But the main event was... Oh, before that, we did have like a Chris Statlander match with Viva Van. That was one of Viva Van's best matches. Like, I mean, the bar isn't really that high because she doesn't really have a lot of matches. Like, it's usually like a squash match or it's a match in Ring of Honor. But like, this is pretty decent. She has improved so much. But yeah, Chris Statlander, I believe they're gonna have a fatal four-way match next week. It's Maya World defending the TBS title against Crystal and Persephone and Hikaru Shida. So that is gonna be fun. I had assumed it would probably be at All In, but I don't know. It feels like they are doing something else. I don't know, maybe one person is gonna be the one who she faces at All In that match, because I don't think Maya World is gonna lose, but I won't be surprised if she faces like a Persephone at All In and she loses to Persephone there. But yeah, the main event was John Moxley versus Jack Perry. This was a really good match. Like, Jack Perry is growing on me. Like, I didn't get it when he was a heel, but like ever since turning babyface, like I have been slowly growing fond of what he does in the ring. But yeah, this was Dynamite. I feel like there's some good stuff that happened, but like just compared to the last few weeks, it just doesn't quite measure up.